Hi everybody, thank you very much for watching. In today's video, we're going to show you how to add in a plan manually into Life Design Analysis through the plus manual icon. The manual functionality is only necessary in specific cases because with LDA, we have integration with Life Guide to survey the Canadian market for most product types. This is available for term insurance. We can survey the market for basic permanent plans such as minimum funded UL, non-participating whole life, and basic par whole life, as well as critical illness. And for some coverage such as participating whole life or overfunded UL, we have the ability to import a spreadsheet from the carrier's illustration software. But there are certain cases where a plan that we want to bring in cannot be brought in through one of those methods. That's where the plus manual functionality comes in. With plus manual, when we hover our cursor over it, we'll see right away it's asking us to either enter in an existing policy or potentially whole life or universal life options that aren't available. And what that means is it's from a carrier that doesn't appear on the drop-down menu that we see for either universal life or whole life. Rarely does this happen though, because most carriers we have integrated into here so we can load in the entire spreadsheet. But when I select plus manual, I will see options appear for multiple product types. In most cases where we see plus manual being used on the term side of things are for products that are either rated or it's an existing policy that we haven't brought into Life Design Analysis. And remember, if you want to bring in your entire life insurance block of business to manage inside of Life Design Analysis, you can do that and bring in the policies through the plus in-force policy icon into the case to avoid this process. However, there may be times where somebody walks in the door of your office and they have a policy already. If they provide you the details, the manual functionality can be used to bring in their insurance. So to do this, we'll start by selecting the term length. Here we'll use term 10 as an option. This will bring up our case plan form. Here we can change the name or add a description to this product. So for this example, I'll call it existing term 10, and I'm going to leave the description blank. From here, we can enter in the initial premium and the guaranteed renewable schedule in increments of every 10 years. The difference between different term options is the renewal increments are set to the length of that term product. So here I can put in some values for this specific plan. I'll just put in some arbitrary numbers into here for this. So we'll say 1,000 on the renewal, maybe 4,200 going up to 9,000, and let's say about 16,000 later on. Again, we'll want to take this information either from the carrier's illustration software or from the client's existing policy information. If we are looking at adding in an existing policy, the initial premium will represent the first 10 years. One thing we can do is we can put in an issue date, and that will backdate the policy to show from now moving forward. So let's say they're in the 9th year of their term 10, we'll show this year and the last remaining payment they have under the initial premium, then following by the guaranteed renewal schedule. So we can go off of that example. Let's say the policy was issued in March of 2013. I'll put in that issue date into here, followed by the renewable and convertible age. We'll put in the policy number. I'll call this LDA 123 and the insurance benefit amount. So we'll say in this case, I'll say that it's $500,000. There is an option where we can save this to the client file by checking off Save as a Policy, or we can click Save to load it into the design case page. In just a matter of seconds, once our badge icon disappears, we'll see that existing plan brought into the design case page above where we see those green colored icons, including plus manual. And if we are working with existing insurance, the issue date will be provided to the right of the renewable to age. This process is repeatable anytime you work with any of the designated term options from the plus manual screen. One question we commonly get nowadays, since a lot of carriers are changing their term plans under a YRT schedule after the initial term length, is how we can manually bring these into the insurance case. since by selecting term 10 or any of these options, we see it in increments of every 10 years or, again, depending on that term length we select. This is where some of our additional options can come into play. Although they are labeled for options such as overfunded UL and whole life, we have the ability to change the name to represent the specific plan that we want to bring in. Instead of loading that case plan form we saw previously, on my design case page, you'll see right away there's a whole life option. However, we can use that edit plan icon as mentioned earlier to change the name. When selecting paste spreadsheet data, this will bring me to a new page where LDA will ask me to copy and paste data from a spreadsheet into this page so we can translate the numbers into the LDA case. So let's go through one of those examples. What I've done is I've pre-created an example in the carrier's illustration software. I'm using Canada Life here since they've recently changed their product to become a YRT schedule option after the initial term. So what I've done is I've created this for my client using 175% rating, term 10, $500,000. So very similar to what I created with that existing plan. So from here, I'll use their view data option and export this into Microsoft Excel. And then this will allow me to copy and paste it into LDA. So the first thing I'll start off with is the premium. And we have a few different options here, but we'll use this one, column number 2. So in order to bring this in, I'm going to highlight the entire column worth of data, excluding the headers. We just need the numbers here. Right click and copy this and go back into my design case page. From here, I'll right click and paste the values into the text box, and it will auto-populate it for all the years that I've copied so we can see those yearly changes, unlike that other option for term 10 where it's set to those 10-year increments. Now on this page, there are other options for columns that will likely not apply in this case, such as cash value, but this can be used when working with whole life options. So whether it's on a reduced basis, guaranteed basis, we have other options such as NCPI, internal rate of return. We have ACB calculations for our CDA credit as well. So that can be used, and those are optional when bringing in data this way for a whole life plan, column by column. In the case of term insurance, though, there's only 3 mandatory options: premium, cash value, and insurance benefit. Since this plan does not contain any cash value, we just need to put in the number 0 into year 1 and leave the rest. We don't need to autofill that for all the columns. From here, we'll finalize, with the insurance benefit amount and follow the same process, highlighting the data. Then we'll copy it, paste it, and once completed, click the upload option. In just a few seconds, you'll be redirected back to the design case page, and this information will be ready to present. So there we are. If we ever want to see a preview, we can always click on the name of the plan under the drop-down menu, and we'll see that information appear. But as mentioned before, we will need to change the name to represent the plan. I will use that edit plan icon with the case plan form and call it Canada Life, my term 10. And maybe I'll include a note saying with 175% rating. There we go. Now that this is done loading, let's generate our report to see what's been put together. The main takeaway here is the look and feel will be consistent to plans you create by using our Life Guide functionality to survey the insurance market, or in permanent cases, importing a spreadsheet file or using our traditional copy and paste method. For the existing term, we can see 1 year at the initial premium before we get into the guaranteed renewable schedule in increments of every 10 years. And that's followed by that my term option we brought in with the rating. Here's our note on the left-hand side, but we can see the yearly renewals that we show up until year 19, but we always have our annualized premium schedule page to show that YRT curve as time goes on. And I'll take that other option away just so we can evaluate that. There's our summer premiums page as well. And of course, detailing this information via presentation summary. That summarizes the Plus manual functionality and how it can be utilized. Keep in mind, there's many ways this can be used for term insurance cases or permanent insurance cases or concepts. But if you ever have any questions, feel free to utilize the Ask Us a Question tab on the right-hand side of the page to speak with one of our customer success representatives.